Hi everyone. Hope you all are good. We are here for grade 5 math. You can find all the lessons on ableistudents.com. You have to log in there using your email address and password as provided by the administrator. Then you have to select math from the subject tab, scroll down to grade 5 math, and then click on view all lessons. There you can find a list of the chapters. We're going to start with the chapter ratios, proportions, and percents. The lessons we're going to cover today are percent of a number, determine the ratio, percent of a number word problems, and compare percentages. So please make sure you have your notebook and pencil so that you can note down the important examples and definitions as well. Here I'm on Here I'm on grade 5 math. The chapter we're on right now is ratios, proportions, and percents. Let's just start with the lesson that is percent of a number. What is 50% of 18? You need to calculate 50% of 18. So how do we calculate? The easy way to calculate the 50% of 18 is you have to do 18 times 50 and 50% of 18. That is 50%. 50% means 50 out of 100. So you have to do 18 times 50 over 100. You have to use the calculator. 8 times 5 times 8 is 40. That is 900 divided by 100. So 900 divided by 100 is 9. That means 50%. And if you think logically, 50% means half of a number. Half of a number is 18 is 9. Got it? Let's just start with the test questions. What is 75% of 32? So how do you calculate? You have to do 32 times 75%. And 75% means 75 out of 100. So just use the calculator or simply multiply 75 times 32. 75 times 32 is 2400. And 2400 divided by 100 equals, very good, that is 24. Option number 1 is the correct option, that is 24. What is 25% of 12? 25% of 12, that is 25 over 100 times 12. So which is the correct option? That is 3. Option number 1 is the correct option. 25% of 12 is 3. Option number 1 is the correct option. What is 60% of 15? 60% of 15. That is 60 over 100 times 15. 15 times 6 is 900 divided by 100. So the correct option is 9. Option number 1 is the correct option. The correct option is option number 1, that is 9. What is 70% of 30? 70% of 30 is, you have to do 30 times 70%. So 70% means that is 70 out of 100. So that is 21. Option number 1 is the correct option. 70% of 30 is 21. Option number 1 is the correct option, that is 21. What is 10% of 60? 10% of 60 is 6. Option number 2 is the correct option. Option number 2 is the correct option. What is 80% of 45? So you have to do 45 times 80%. That means you have to do 45 times 80 over 100. So which is the correct option? You have to do 80 times 45. So 80% of 45 is 36. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is 36. What is 75% of 72? Seventy-five percent of 72 is 54. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let's just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is determine the ratio. What is the ratio of the orange octagonal prisms to the total octagonal prisms? So the total prisms are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The total prisms are 10 and you have 9 of them are orange. That is 9 by 10. The correct option is 9 to 10. Let's just start with the test questions. What is the ratio of the yellow hearts to the brown heart? So which is the correct option? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 yellow hearts and 1 brown heart. So that is 7 to 1. Option number 1 is the correct option. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is 7 to 1. What is the ratio of the red fish to the total fish? So you have 3 red fish and the total fish are, that is 325. Option number 3 is the correct option. There are 3 red fish and the total fish are 5. So that is 325. Option number 3 is the correct option. Option number 3 is the correct option. What is the ratio of the purple jeeps to red jeep? You have one purple jeep to four red jeeps. Option number 4 is the correct option. That is 1 to 4. Option number 4 is the correct option. What is the ratio of pink hexagons to blue hexagons? Pink to blue. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 pink to 1 blue. That is 6 to 1. Option number 3 is the correct option. That is 6 to 1. Option number 3 is the correct option. What is the ratio of the orange octagonal prism to total octagonal prisms? Which is the correct option? That is 9 to 10. Option number 2 is the option number 4 is the correct option. That is 9 to 10. What is the ratio of the blue cars to total cars? Blue cars to total. That is 8 to 1. Option number, no, 8 to 9. The total cars are 9. That is 8 to 9. Option number 1 is the correct option. I think you guys are here to learn. So stop chatting, otherwise, I'm going to block you all. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. If you are bored, you can leave. You are here to learn. I'm not here to entertain you. The next lesson is percent of a number word problems. There are 53 seats on a train. 100% of the seats are empty. How many empty seats are there on the train? You have to calculate the you need to calculate the empty seats on the train. So you have to calculate the 100% of 50. You have to do 53 times 100%. That means that is 100 over 100. 100 divided by 100 is 1. So you have 53. That means all of the seats are empty. Okay, let's just start with the test questions. In order to select the new board members, the French club held an election. 60% of the 20 members of the club voted. How many members voted? You have to calculate 60% of 20. You have to do 20 times 60 over 100. So, which is the correct option? The correct option is 12. Option number 2 is the correct option. Carson brought chocolate and vanilla cupcakes to school for his birthday. 70 students decided to cake a cupcake and 10% of them picked vanilla. How many people picked a vanilla cupcake? So, which is the correct option? 10% of 70 is. 10% of 70 is 7. Option number 2 is the correct option. Mia ordered a set of blue and orange pens. She received 85 pens and 20% of them were blue. How many blue pens did Mia receive? So, which is the correct option? 20% of 85 is 17. Option number 2 is the correct option. At the craft store, Ruben bought a bag of orange and green marbles. The bag contained 44 marbles, and 25% of them were orange. How many orange marbles did Ruben receive? So 25% of 44 is. That is 11. Option number 2 is the correct option. 25% of 44 is 11. Last Thursday was costume day at Dakota School. 30% of the 100 students wore a costume. How many students wore a costume? That is 30. Option number 2 is the correct option. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. Let me just move on to next lesson. The next lesson is compare percentages. Which is greater, 10% of 60 and or 10% of 5? You have to evaluate the percentages. 10% of 60 is 6 and 10% of 50 is 5. So 6 is greater than 5. That means 10% of 60 is greater than 10% of 50. Let's just start with the test questions. Which is less, 40% of 50 or 20% of 50? Let's just evaluate 40% of 50, right? So 40% of 50 is 20 and 20% of 50 is 10. So which is less? 20% of 50 is less than 40% of 50. Option number 2 is the correct option. That is 20% of 50. Which is less, 30% of 40 or 30% of 70? Thirty percent of 40 is less than 30% of 70. Option number 1 is the correct option. That is 30% of 40. Which is greater, 10% of 10 or 90% of 10? That is 90% of 10. Option number 2 is the correct option. Which is greater, 90% of 60 and 90% of 80? That is 90% of 80 is greater than 90% of 60. Which is greater? 30% of 10 and 10% of 30. Neither they are exactly equal. No, 30% of 10 is greater than 10% of 10. 30% of 10 is greater than 10% of 10. But here that is 10% of 10. So yes, they are equal. If you see 10% of 30 or 30% of 10, so they are exactly equal. 'Which is less? 30% of 50 or 90% of 50? %30 of 50 is less than 90% of 50. Which is greater? 80% of 10 or 40% of 30? That is 40% of 30. Option 2 is the correct option. Which is greater, 100% of 90 or 90% of 30% of 90? That is 100% of 90 is greater than 30% of 90. Okay, you can complete the lesson by yourself later today. So we were working on Grade 5 Math. Chapter we're working on is ratios, proportions, and percents. The lessons we have covered today are percent of a number, determine the ratio, percent of a number word problems, and compare percentages. So please make sure before the next session you practice questions for the lessons we just did. That is your homework until next session. So if you need more help with any of the lessons, you can simply click on the live chat button. Tutors are available there to help you, or either you can write down the questions in the chat box. I'm here to answer all your questions and confusions. So you can please write down the chat box. I'm here to answer your questions and confusions if you have any. Any questions? No questions? Okay, see you in the next session. Bye everyone.